Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
My name is Earl Shrag, and my wife and I live in outside of Anancock on the bay. I work for what was originally Crestar, then SunTrust, then Truist Bank for 45 years. And my wife wanted to live by the water, so we ended up finding a place in Anancock. And my boss let me work out of the old SunTrust Bank that was in Anancock for about 10 years. And that's how we ended up down here. And then I retired, and so we're still there. I got involved with the Democratic Party, and this was in about 2000 or maybe the year before. They were giving rides to people, but it was sort of a haphazard thing. People would call in and they'd say, "I need a ride." And everybody would scramble around trying to find, well, who can do this on that day? Who can do this? Who can do that? There were people who did it. There was no coordination between Northampton and Accomack. And you had a couple groups like the Souls to the Polls, churches that would take people on Sundays when there was Sunday voting. But that was sort of inconsistent too. So I told the person I was working with, I said, this doesn't make sense. I said a simple procedure would take care of this. And it was just real important to be able to get people who wanted to exercise the right to vote to the polls. Also, in addition to that, with the president talking about doing away with mail-in voting, it becomes even more important to have something in place for if that happens, then we can take care of that. So I started thinking of different ideas, and what I basically came up with was I contacted different groups to see if they would provide drivers. The drivers would tell me if they could be available on election day or early voting or both. They would tell me if they wanted to drive to their own district, their district plus adjoining districts, or the entire county. They would tell me what days they were maybe on vacation and not available. Once the advertisements were out, people would call me at home originally. I had my phone number, and I decided there's got to be a better way than that, because if someone takes over for me at some point, they're not going to want calls at home. So I found out, went on the internet, and I found a place that actually, for a very reasonable price, I can record a message. People can call that number. They can listen to the message, leave the information that is requested in the message. Once they hang up, that message is sent to my computer, both transcribed in a written format and also sent to me verbally. So I get both contacts. If I get all the information I need, I can see that, because they provide their name, their address, the district they live in, what county they're in. And once I get that information, I can call the driver who is closest to that person and who's available on that particular time. They then call the person, make the final arrangements. If I don't have all the information I need, I call the person back immediately and get the information, and then follow the same approach. Call the driver. If the driver's available, if they're not available, I'll call another driver. Otherwise, the first driver will do the job, and they call me as soon as they're finished, so I can have a record of it, so we know that the ride was taken. That is pretty much the whole procedure. It's very, very simple and very easy. I try to get a driver in each district, but unfortunately that hasn't happened. But I've always had enough drivers. In fact, we don't have enough riders. That's the big problem. And that's good in the sense if people are sending in their votes by mail. If they're just not going and they have a car, that's bad too, obviously. But the target we want are the people who would like to go and can't go. Another place that I advertised was Meals on Wheels. I asked the people who run Meals on Wheels and said, can you give each of the people that you bring food to one of these cards that says, if you want a free ride to the polls, we'll give you a free ride. I've just done that last year and this year. We'll see how that works out. But again, obviously, those people can't get out, otherwise we wouldn't be getting meals at home. So it's another alternative. It has gone well. I mean, we've had one year we had like 20 riders, another year we had 2. It just depends on the advertising. Again, the advertising is the key and trying to identify those people. And that's the hard part, because if a person can't drive, they're not necessarily out in places where they can see the sign. It's primarily Eastern Shore votes is the main thing. The poster that I put out says Eastern Shore free rides to vote, just to emphasize the free part of it. But normally it's been just Eastern Shore votes as that. And between September 19th and November 1st, that's the early voting. We give rides 9 to 5. And on election day, which is November 4th, 7:30 to 6:30. And the number is 1-855-616, the word ride, or the number 7433. This is totally nonpartisan. I was working with the Democratic Party originally, but I told them that I'd only do the program if it was nonpartisan, because the idea is we want everybody to vote whatever they believe in. And that's the important part. It's not that they vote the way I want or you want or anyone else wants. It's got to be free to anybody. And so there is no pressure of any kind. As an aside, just interesting enough, I've had a rider who said, can you stop me at the store? I needed some groceries I wasn't able to get. That sure. We were on the way anyway. It didn't matter. The only way you can bring about change, whatever that change is by voting. And getting involved between times during the full year in whatever organizations you feel will support what you believe in. But if you don't vote, then you're not having any chance to select that person. If you don't vote, you don't have any chance. You're going to get whatever's given to you, and there's no way that you should be able to complain at that point. If anyone that hears this knows of somebody that can't get to the polls, they please tell them about the phone number and at least make that available to them. We're trying to fulfill the idea that voting is a right that everybody should exercise, and that some people can't get there, and we want to provide the means for them to get there. And the way they vote is none of our business. We just want it to be their right and their opportunity. And if that happens, then we're happy.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelly Gaskell.